So if Uncle Monty hates Rapunzel and Cassandra hates Eugene, who's gonna hate Cassandra? Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with whatever you want to call it. Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure, Tangled the series. It has two names. We're here with episode 3 though. Yeah. Apparently it was originally called Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure, but they changed the name like in I want to say season 3. And then they like retroactively changed the name of the first two seasons as well. And it's just like, okay. I mean, I don't think it's the only series that has ever done that, but it's like, I don't really think the change was entirely necessary. Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure sounds fine. I have no issue with it. Tangled the series, like, sounds fine too. It's a little more direct, but I mean, I just don't know if it was entirely necessary. But I mean, I guess I don't have an issue with it, just why? Anyway, I just brought that up because I don't think I've mentioned that in the previous reactions. If I have, I apologize, but so yeah, last time we had Uncle Monty and his hatred for Rapunzel, and a lot of it seemed to come down to her changing the crest designs and just general distaste, which, as is made clear at the end, is fine. Some people just aren't going to like others. And I compared it to that one episode of Friend Indeed of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. And I talked about how this is actually done better than that, which is really interesting to say because of, if you know me, you know I'm a pretty big fan of My Little Pony. Friendship is Magic is a very important series to me, so. And that episode especially, actually. But mostly for the Smile song, if I'm being fair. um, but in general, yeah. That episode did have some issues with how it handled that, and this episode of Tangled the series handled it a lot better. So, now the question kind of comes down to what's next? I have been told that this series is very episodic at first and then evolves into more of a story, which I kind of figured was going to be the case because I've heard people talk about this, and the way they've talked about it made it seem like there was a story to it. Um, and honestly, I kind of figured there would be. It just seems like the kind of series that would be like that. So that's not a surprise to me. I just don't know like how long it's going to take, and do not tell me. I'm going to say that right now. Don't tell me exactly how long it takes to get to all of that. I'm just kind of curious. Like right now, I can understand like the first episodes and all, just kind of like reintroducing us to the characters, introducing us to new characters and ideas, kind of really introducing us to the kingdom more. Because let's be honest, it really wasn't a big focus in the movie. So I understand what they're going for here with that. Like a lot of shows that do this have to kind of introduce everything because, new IP. But with this, it's a little different because it's not a new IP. It's based off of a movie, which in turn is based off of an old fairy tale. But there's a lot here that does still need to be introduced, or even in some cases reintroduced. And some of that comes down to as well that there are going to be people who check out this series, or I guess did check out this series, before even seeing the movie. A lot of kids, for example, might not have ever seen the movie, but will end up seeing this series on TV and stuff. That just is something that could happen and probably did. In fact, I'd say it's pretty much guaranteed it did. um, And there will also be kids who like whose parents will have shown them the movie, especially parents who have like grown up with the movie, which is weird to think about. The movie's old enough to where that can be a thing. But yeah, and then they'll have shown their kids the movie, and then the kids will watch the series, and it's like, yeah. But it's just interesting to think about how that can be a thing, but also how people can experience this in different ways. I'm experiencing it as someone who did grow up with the movie. I've talked about this before, about how I saw it in high school with friends. And so now I'm experiencing this years and years later, though I have seen the movie more recently. um, and it's a different experience than someone else might have with it, and that's cool, and I like that. I like that different people can experience this kind of thing in different ways. But yeah, because of that, having a lot of this early stuff reintroducing characters, or for people who haven't seen the movie, introducing them, as well as introducing a lot of the new stuff as well, yeah, it's going to be necessary. So I don't mind that at all. It's just a matter of how it continues to go and everything. Now, the last episode, episode 2, didn't feature Jeremy Jordan's character, the inventor kid guy. Um, and I'm hoping he appears in this episode just because I want to listen to his performance in here and see if it's something I would be able to recognize. Although I already obviously know it's him. I want to just see how similar the voice is to Lucifer in Has Been Hotel. I assume it's not going to be exactly the same for obvious reasons, but I just want to hear if it's like, if I would recognize that voice. Also, because I know that this is, a musical series too, and is going to have music in it, I assume Jeremy Jordan's going to sing. And I'm sorry, but if you watched Has Been Hotel and heard his voice in episode 5, his singing voice, like, I genuinely think he's the best singing voice in Has Been Hotel. His voice is butter. It is so fucking smooth, so good. Like, he is just amazing. And like, I'm comparing that with someone like Keith David being in that series. Keith David's a phenomenal singer, as is everyone else in it, of course. I mean, you have Daphne Rubin Vega in this series, and I'm still saying that Jeremy Jordan is better. That's saying something. His voice is just phenomenal in terms of his singing, and in terms of his voice acting too, but I'm talking about the singing here. So if he gets to sing in this, and he probably will, it's like, that's going to be like just so hype. I'm very excited for that. Again, the performance is definitely going to be different, but I want to hear him in this. I want to hear like what he sounds like comparatively. Mainly because I know it's him now. When I watched the first episode, I didn't know it was him. Got to take that into account. Because I didn't know who Jeremy Jordan was at that point. Because that was before Has Been Hotel came out. But yeah. So, I'm very excited, if that's not clear, to see him return and just to hear him in this role again. And it did make it seem in the first episode like he was going to be a major character. So, him just being out of episode 2 is like, yeah, I mean, he might not be in every single episode, especially early on, but I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting for him to return. I like that Clancy Brown is in here as the king too. It's just like, Clancy Brown's just always great to hear. I wonder if he's... Oh, I think he did sing it, didn't he? I think he had a small singing thing in episode 2, didn't he? I think. Unless I'm thinking of something else. I think he sang like a little bit in episode 2. But I definitely want to hear more for sure. Or maybe it was the special. It was either the special or episode 2. I know that for sure. Um, because it was more recent, and I think this is the most recent thing I've heard Clancy Brown in. And those are I reacted to episode 1 a while back, so it couldn't be that. It had to be the pilot or episode 2. Either way, either way. I definitely want to hear more of him sing. I want to hear the mother sing and everything. It's like I just want to hear everyone sing. Everyone should get a song. Let Uncle Monty get a song. I don't know. But yeah, Cassandra, obviously Eugene and Rapunzel get to sing because main character status, and Mandy Moore and Zachary Levi sing. So, very interested to hear and see more of this. So I guess we should probably just get right on this. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after fades black, then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, yeah, this episode was very Eugene focused and was him trying to, find something to do. Because he hasn't really been doing anything since he and Rapunzel came to the castle and everything and started living there. And he decides after trying a bunch of random stuff to try and become a guard, which he's not terrible at, despite what Cassandra's father might say. The problem is more like he wasn't focused enough and made stupid decisions based on stupid logic. But it's like if he actually focused on what he was supposed to do, he would have been fine. But it is also very clear that the captain was, treating him like shit the entire time. And only put him on dungeon duty because he didn't like him. So he was basically doomed to fail. Because the captain knew he would abandon his post or wouldn't be, handling things properly. He knew that. So why did he think that was a good idea? It's just he didn't. It's pretty, I feel, guaranteed that he put him on there knowing something would go wrong and that he could blame it on Eugene and kick him out of the guard. Because despite the fact that Eugene was exceptionally qualified, he had this just bias against him and set him up to fail. He was doing that during the entire training as well. He was literally setting him up to fail at every turn. So I don't really blame Eugene for the prisoner escaping and impersonating Giovanni, or the Giovanni. I don't blame Eugene at all. I think it's honestly much more on the captain. I think that the captain's biases, like in this case, like just caused a painting to nearly be stolen, but could have caused a lot more trouble if it were a more serious, dangerous criminal. I genuinely kind of think that this captain is not very good at his job. If he's going to let his biases hurt the just safety of the kingdom like this. Again, the situation wasn't that dangerous comparatively, but it could have been. And the fact that he set up Eugene to fail here, and I'm fully convinced of that. It's just, he just wanted Eugene gone at any chance. So he gave him something that he knew he wouldn't succeed at. And then the B plot here was Rapunzel just trying to figure out what to do with her royal painting, and in the end, getting advice from her mother to just make it about who she is and who loves her and everything. And so, of course, she had a painting done of her and her mother, and not having it done by the Giovanni. And it's cute, it's precious, and it continues to show like the bond that is growing between these two now that they have a chance to, bond. And shows just a lot of great similarities. It shows how much Rapunzel takes from her mother. And that's great. That's awesome to see. The episode in general, like as a whole, is honestly probably my least favorite of them so far, and that includes with the special as well. It's not bad, it's just my least favorite. It's just not that interesting, because you can see where it's going pretty much the entire time. And while I always say predictability is not inherently bad, and I stand by that, it doesn't do anything to like impress either. Nothing about it is fun or exciting. It's just kind of there. It's not bad, but it's not anything really. It doesn't seem like it amounts to too much. Though maybe Eugene like leading this class on how to deal with criminals might help, and might like have some level of impact, but I don't know. It just feels like it's just something, just to give Eugene something to do and to have in this series. But again, I don't know for sure. It could end up being a big deal down the line. I could end up eating my words, and I would absolutely welcome that. But I can't really say that that's gonna be the case until I find out. And obviously, don't spoil me on that. Do not tell me, like, oh, this is definitely going to be important down the line. Don't tell me that. I don't want to know that ahead of time. I want to find out naturally. So, if that does end up being the case, then I'm cool with that. I have no issue with that. Again, I'm fine with being proven wrong here. But I can only judge it based on what I've seen so far, and just, it doesn't seem like it amounts to much right now. It doesn't come across like it's going to. But again, maybe I'll be wrong. And we still didn't get Jeremy Jordan. And again, don't tell me like when he actually appears again or not. I don't want to know ahead of time. Like, I'm just gonna keep waiting for him, because again, I want to hear the voice to compare it and everything. But do not tell me. I don't want to know ahead of time when he appears again. I really thought his character was going to be more important, but maybe not. Maybe he's just going to be an occasional character. They made it seem like in the first episode like he was going to be major. But, I mean, I guess maybe he's more akin to characters like Uncle Monty and whatnot. Or the Giovanni, characters who are there, like, maybe every so often, but aren't, like, major characters. I mean, of course, granted, I don't know if Uncle Monty and the Giovanni are going to be like that at all, to be fair. So, yeah. A lot of questions, a lot of things that I don't know how they're going to go yet. But like I said, do not answer anything for me. Do not tell me anything about what's going to come in the future. I want to remain surprised. I want to remain as spoiler-free as possible and just discover that all on my own. But I would love to hear what you thought of this episode. Let me know down in the comments below. And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.